We are continuing our discussion on the coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic. And with new case numbers on the rise throughout the country and increasing here in Florida, this leaves many residents questioning what we should do next. Face masks are still required throughout many Central Florida communities, and more vaccine and testing sites are opening to accommodate the demand. So what does all of this mean for you? Well, on this special edition of Healthy Connections, we're going to get an up-to-date look at where we are as a community dealing with this pandemic. Our first guest is the very busy Orange County Mayor Jerry Demings, and he's here to give us an update on what's going on here in Orange County. Mr. Mayor, thank you for being with us today.
Hello, it's always good to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me. A lot has been going on in Orange County as we have just come off of the holiday period of time, during a period in which we're still managing the pandemic. It's still really very active in our community. It's been spreading quickly across the globe, certainly here within America, right down to our community. Today we are approaching nearly 100,000 persons who have tested positive for COVID-19 within our community. With a population of about 1.4 million people, that means about 6.8% of our population has tested positive for the novel coronavirus within our community. So we're approaching the 7% of our population that has been tested positive. Now, we have also began the process of vaccinating people who are 65 plus, healthcare workers, and first responders here within our community. So we are moving forward. I believe that with the promise of additional vaccine being made widely available within our community and within our state, it's a promise for all of us that we'll be able to better manage the spread of the virus going forward.
And speaking of vaccines, tell us about some of the partnerships that are in place here in Orange County to help facilitate getting those vaccines to residents.
We've had a great partnership with the local Florida Department of Health at Orange County. Dr. Raul Pino and his team at the Orange County Health Department, while they're state workers, they really work very closely with the county. And we have a vaccine distribution location at the Orange County Convention Center that has been a seamless process for senior citizens who are 65 years or older who desire to get vaccinated. In addition, the Orange County Convention Center remains the site, the primary site for the state to provide testing for COVID-19. Then we have also done testing at the local level at Barnett Park, and we've been doing that now for a number of months. So those who desire to be tested in our community, they have various places where they can go. They can also go to their private healthcare providers, their physicians, healthcare networks such as Advent Health or Orlando Health or HCA. And then we're beginning to see within our community other locations that are making vaccinations available through your local Walgreens or CVS pharmacy or True Health. And in some cases, there have been some localized partnerships with some local churches to provide vaccination to various constituency groups here within Orange County. I believe that as we get into February, we'll see the supply of available vaccine become much greater. And at that point, it will likely be open up to more people who are under 65 and others who are desirous of being inoculated.
And with the rollout of the vaccine, there are still the impacts that are being felt throughout Orange County due to the pandemic. Are CARES Act funds still being used in the COVID-19 eviction diversion program?
Fortunately, we do have some CARES Act funding monies that remain here within our community. But just this week, we received a notification from the federal government that we will be receiving an additional $33 million in direct allocation to help prevent individuals from being evicted from their homes because of the housing crisis that has been created as a result of the pandemic.
You know, one of the most important components of this pandemic has been the strike force, and I wanted to find out how are they doing when it comes to just making sure that the businesses here in Orange County are operating safely.
Our strike teams or compliance teams have visited over 7,000 different locations over the last several months. But since the early part of December, I also included the ability for our compliance teams to find non-compliant businesses. And during that period of time, I'm happy to say that the overwhelming majority, about 89% of the businesses that we have visited since that period of time for more than one occasion, we're seeing 89% who are compliant. Since we started doing the compliance team inspections back in August of 2020, we have seen 99% compliance with the facial covering order that was put in place. And so overall, I think things are going well. We have only had to fine 17 businesses out of the 7,000 or so different inspections that have been performed over time.
That's excellent. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for being with us today and sharing your perspective. I know you are busy, so we appreciate your time.
Thank you. It's always good to be able to give you some updates. I'm looking forward to 2021. I believe that with the vaccine being made widely available in our community, with businesses re-engaging, I believe 2021 is going to be a much better year. Our economic recovery is well underway, and so by the end of this year, I think we'll be firing on all cylinders once again.
Well, it's certainly off to a good start. Thank you for being with us.
All right, thank you very much.
And we'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Let's get an update from our local medical professionals. And joining me is Dr. Christian Zuver, the Orange County EMS Medical Director. Dr. Zuver, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me back.
So, Dr. Zuver, first of all, what are we seeing at the testing sites? Are people actually still getting tested at the same rate they were previously?
We are. We're seeing still a pretty good clip of folks who are being tested. I think we saw some peaks as we got right around the holidays, but we're still testing just under 2,000 people a day.
And the numbers seem to be rising here in Florida. Is that accurate? I see the numbers on a daily basis and not as an aggregate. So is it true that they're rising?
We have had a rise, and that was expected, I think, after the holidays. We are cautiously optimistic that we are going to follow along with what we're seeing, I think, in a more regional aspect, and that we are at peak or just past peak. And so we should hopefully see numbers, if folks continue to mask and follow their guidelines, start to come down now.
You know, we started to hear about coronavirus variants throughout the world, and are they here in Orange County? And can you talk about a little bit about those variants, and will they respond to the vaccine?
Sure. So while Florida, has examples and patients that have been diagnosed with having the variant of COVID, we have not had any in Orange County that I'm aware of as of yet. There's several variants right now that are kind of in the news. One is from the UK, one is from South Africa, one is from Brazil, and then we have our own domestic variants, so to speak, that are here. And the virus mutates; it changes a little bit, and primarily what that changes is one of the proteins where it binds. So the theory is that some of the virus variants make it a little bit easier to transmit. And as related to vaccines, so just hearing Dr. Fauci yesterday, that we believe that all the current variants will provide protection by the vaccine. It's a they're constantly testing them and evaluating them. But so far, we look like all the current vaccines will protect against the variants.
And speaking of the vaccines, we're starting to see people getting tested here in Florida. What are the procedures for getting tested, and how and where are those vaccines being distributed in Orange County?
So our procedures are based on the governor's executive order, which limits to who we are, vaccinating in this first wave. And just as a reminder, those are the first line healthcare workers. And primarily, it is also older citizens over 65. I should say residents over 65. There was some discussion about folks coming in from out of state to get vaccinated, but the governor has required proof of residency of some sort here to get vaccinated. And the procedures for the county-based vaccination site that we run in conjunction with the Department of Health is that when vaccine is allocated to us, spots will open up online to register, and individuals who meet the criteria and are interested in vaccination can log online to make an appointment to receive their vaccine at the convention center. It's a really well-run site, and we've had good response from the community with every period that we open up vaccination for.
That's great. And as we are waiting, for those of us who are under 65, waiting to get the vaccine, should we get a flu shot this year?
Absolutely. Get a flu shot every year. While the flu numbers have not been anything like other winters, and I think part of that is because we're not traveling as much. We're wearing our masks, we're washing our hands, we're being distant. So all those measures that we've been hearing about for a year now to protect us from COVID have also helped protect us from the flu. But nevertheless, I would strongly recommend that if you're eligible for the flu vaccine to get it and to protect yourself. And flu is very unpleasant, and it produces bad outcomes and death as well. So get vaccinated.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Dr. Zuver, for being with us. And of course, always thank you for all the work that you do and keeping us informed from the front lines of this pandemic. We appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
And stay with us. We'll be right back with more. Let's continue our discussion with our local medical professionals, and joining me is Dr. Yolanda Martinez, manager of Orange County Health Services Department. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Martinez.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to ask you about the concerns that we are seeing with the numbers steadily rising, the coronavirus numbers steadily rising in Orange County. Is there something that you're looking at those numbers and really being concerned about?
Well, we expected this to happen after the holidays, and the numbers are still there. People, I know with time, they've gotten tired of wearing the masks and they want to get together with their families. But we're still seeing a bit of a remnants of what happened during the holidays, Christmas, and more now towards what happened during New Year's. So there's a bit of a concern. The numbers seem to be going slowly down now. In the last report, but there's still a concern, and people still need to pay attention to the fact that we need to continue to wear our masks. Even if we're doing a vaccination process now, there's still a need for people to protect themselves and wear the mask until we are able to immunize the majority of the population.
And with the fatigue and complacency that people have around this pandemic, what are the things that you would tell people to do? I know we've heard this a million times, but coming from you, it actually does have an impact to tell people what we need to be doing. The vaccines are here, but we still have to protect ourselves. What should we be doing?
Absolutely. We can't stop the process that we started of wearing our masks. We need to wear our masks. That's a given. Anywhere we go that we're in contact with other people, we need to wear a mask. We need to exercise social distancing and we need to continue to have good hygiene. Wash our hands on a regular basis when we're in and out of our houses or our work environment. Just be very conscientious of all the protocols that we've been following up to now.
And speaking of the vaccines, there are lots of reports of what people are calling medical tourism here in Florida. Who is eligible to get a vaccine here in the state of Florida?
Well, the understanding that we had at the beginning coming from the state is that anybody that wanted a vaccine would have access to the vaccine, whether they were Orange County residents or not. Right now, the message that we're getting from the state is that they're going to put parameters in place to make sure that county residents are the ones that have a priority. So people will need to show some kind of proof of residency. When they show up for their appointment, they will be asked a question when they make their appointment for the vaccine, whether they're a resident of the county, and if they can show proof, and then they will be asked to show that proof when they get to the site.
And there's so much information floating around about the coronavirus and about the vaccines. And the best thing is to stick with a reliable source like the county's health department website. One of the important things to know is that it is also bilingual. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, not only the Orange County Health Department website, but also a lot of information in our county website. The residents can find there. And it is also, like you said, it's bilingual. We're trying to reach as many of the residents in our community, both through the health department and through the county government website as well.
Well, Dr. Martinez, thank you so much for keeping us informed from the front lines, and thank you for the work that you do as well.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. We've heard from a variety of leaders today trying to keep us informed about the coronavirus. From local government, the medical community who's on the front lines dealing with this pandemic, and organizations who continue to serve this community. And of course, we are also here to help you keep making those healthy connections. Stay safe, everyone.